Welcome back to the 2025 Tire Rack One Lap of America, presented by Grassroots Motorsport Magazine, with coverage this year brought to you by HP Tuners. Today, Brian and I are used to having very well-regarded individuals. We're used to having old-timers for the one lap. We're used to really being on our game. Today, we get to sit back and relax because we have a couple of great friends. We've got the One Lap Messiah and James Hodges here with us. So, gentlemen, why don't you initially introduce yourselves?
Okay, I'll jump off. James Hodges. This will be year 7 for me, probably year 6 together with Jesus. And then it's been a great, 8 years of learning you guys. And we'll see what this adventure brings. Jesus?
Yeah, so One Lap Messiah here. For those that don't know, my name is Jesus, translated into Jesus. All right. And so I think you're right. I think I'm on year 6 total.
Jesus is great at math.
Mathemologist extraordinaire. I don't know, man. They all blur together. Like, where was I saw a question here about like something, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the roots are. I don't know where. Whatever. I'm just gonna plug in stuff and things in GPS, and hopefully everyone else is there. We may end up on like the 2019 route or something.
It was a good route that year. I mean, we had fun.
Yeah, it was a good year. It was a good year.
Yeah, it was a good year. Good year for us. All right. Well, welcome. And obviously, you're no stranger to the One Lap. You're an integral part of the One Lap family. So I guess why don't we start with a little bit of your background, because you both do kind of interesting things. One more than others. One kind of missed the reins down in Africa, just came back from there. The other sort of like a glorified Mary Poppins for school teacher. But why don't you talk to us a little bit about your day jobs and what you do?
I'll let you start, Jesus.
So let's see. My current day job. After a career in the military and a career in law enforcement and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, I thought the best thing that I could do was be around kids. And
and they let you.
And they let me. I swear they did a background check. I swear they looked into it all. They've got my social media. I don't know, man. They let me. So yeah, I'm a teacher at a really small little private school here in Orlando, Florida, and I teach a little bit of everything. So again, we're really small. When I say really small, I'm talking less than 200 kids, K through 12. I have a graduating class this year of 5. Last year we had a graduating class, our first ever graduating class, of 3. And so this year we upped the ante to 5. So, big numbers. But so I teach elementary school, like PE, whatever. Really, it's just stand in the gym and let the kids run around and yell, and give the teachers a break. And then I focus mostly on high school, like history, social sciences, government, economics, stuff like that, is where I spend most of my actual teaching chops.
But I'm going to interject 2 things before we get to James. You also just did something really cool. You did a field trip to Washington, D.C. You did a little bit of a fundraiser for that. So why don't you let everybody know how that went? Because I thought that was a super cool thing that you did.
Yeah, man, it was pretty awesome. We just went. It was about 2 weeks ago now. And we did a fundraiser, and a huge thanks to all my One Lap family that did, in fact, donate. We had several guys, put up a little bit of money and help the kids out. But yeah, we spent 5 days in total, including 2 days of travel, a day and a half of travel, in Washington, D.C. And so this is a group of kids that, the reality is, Solomon, you and I kind of spoke about this when I brought this up to you. Most of these kids are we're, whatever the poorest title number is, with all the, our socioeconomic classes in the toilets. I mean, it's at the very bottom. So these kids just don't have opportunities. They don't have experiences. They don't have any of these things. Most of them had never been out of the state. The only ones that had been out of the state were because they traveled here from some other country and that wasn't their port of entry, and then they got here. But like, to say that they've traveled and seen anything, not really. So I was able to put this trip together, an incredible amount of time to plan and figure it out. Cost cutting was a major major thing for me. I mean, again, families just can't afford this kind of stuff. So part of that was we decided to drive. My principal and I decided, hey, all right, we can rent some vans and we'll drive. And I mean, it's a 12-hour trip, without stops, driving non-one lap speeds. And so yeah, we ended up leaving on Friday night at midnight and hit the road. So I got up Friday morning at 6 a.m., worked all day at school, taught, did all the stuff, worked. I mean, played dodgeball mostly. But but then, came home, I got about 2 hours of sleep, and then got back to the school, and we, did all the safety checks and things and whatnot for the kids and the parents, and got on the road at midnight. And by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we were pulling into our hotel. And so it was just a tiny little hit of what we're about to do now. But yeah, I drove the whole thing. We had two vans, so I had a co-driver. He's a former professional trucker, so driving is no big deal for him. But we made a couple of stops that maybe we wouldn't have made in other circumstances, but given kids and some older folks that were with us and whatnot. So we stopped at 3 a.m. somewhere in Georgia. Then we stopped at 6 a.m. in Florence at the Buc-ee's. Got to hit Buc-ee's, and that was wonderful at 6 a.m. Man, it was fantastic. So the kids had never been to a Buc-ee's. Yeah, exactly. The kids had never been to a Buc-ee's, so that was a lot of fun with it. Like, oh my gosh, like this is wild. And then we stopped one more time just south of Virginia, and we pushed through. So it was a ton of fun. When we got to DC, it was packed. I mean, wall to wall stuff. It's anyone that's been there, like there's just so much to do and see, and you could spend a week at every location that we went to, let alone the couple of hours that we had to again give these guys an experience. And just to kind of to hammer in the point of opportunities and experiences, one of the nights we went to one of my favorite restaurants that only exists up there. It's called Mike's American Grill.
I knew it. I think we're gonna go there.
So I told them before the trip, I said, listen, on X night, I'm going to this restaurant. I can't get it anywhere else. I'm going to this restaurant. If anyone wants to join me, you are more than welcome, but it's expensive, especially for them. So I understand. It's not a big deal if you don't want to go, but I just want to give that invitation. Well, the entire group ended up going. The entire group ended up loving it. But the thing that was really telling for me, so they're going, it's great food, it's phenomenal. There were several kids kind of within my table and in the group, whatnot, that had never had a multi-course meal. Didn't understand what appetizers and then a salad and then your steak and that concept didn't even jive with it. It just didn't register with them. They keep bringing me food. What is all this? And it's moments like that where I'm like, man, I'm so blessed. I'm so incredibly blessed to have had the life that I've had and the things that I've done. And I just want to pour that into these kids that I know don't have the opportunity. So yeah, we had a great time. We got to see a lot of cool stuff. And I think the kids in general absolutely loved it. They only really pissed me off one time, but that's okay. That's not too bad. So yeah, man, it was a good time.
My hat goes off to you. And one more thing before we get to James. I know that was, a fulsome explanation, which we appreciate, and again, greatly done. But how do you find the time to do all that and be a test subject for HP tuners? Because I acquired this very interesting photo of you actually as they were doing testing for HP tuners. So how is it that you can do all of this at once? I mean, that's amazing. I mean, what were you testing?
They were just making sure that my blow-off valve worked.
I got you. That's
I was having overboost situations, and it wasn't releasing out the correct ends. And so, Yeah.
That's
anyway.
most things we found with you, but yes, that's anyhow. James, go ahead, and then I'll let Brian start tearing into you guys.
Oh yeah. Forget what was the question. What do I do?
We were
right?
talking about what you do and
Oh.
and yeah, all that kind of good stuff.
So I've been in the Air Force for just over 20 years. I'm an aircraft maintenance officer, but also an air advisor as a secondary. And then just recently, this last 6 months, I got a surprise vacation to go to Africa, where I spent the last 6 months um, commanding a small group, managing operations throughout East Africa, everything from additional fobs to theater protection to personnel recovery and a whole myriad of other things kind of fell underneath that unit. So got to see a very diverse operation. I've never been to Africa. Don't know if I really care to go back there, but Kenya was nice. I will caveat Kenya was a really nice spot, but the heat, humidity, the suck factor of being so close to the equator with the way the weather is, no bueno. But it's been good. I just got back less than a week ago, probably like 4 days ago. So hot and heavy, trying to get the car into some sort of running condition. All three cars were dead. So 2 new batteries and 1 jumped, and we're in business. And we'll be seeing what this next week has for this car that hasn't moved really in the last like 10 months. So good luck.
And you're we'll let Brian get stuck in a moment because I know he's got a lot of questions here. But we were given we were sent your actual staff photo from Africa. And it's a little bit different because usually we see you in in your gear and your uniform. But we thought it was very interesting what you had to wear there. Now, is this standard issue, or I mean, what's going on here? This is like the village people meet the Djibouti, and what's going on here?
Bro, if you were so tight with money, you could have asked, man. You didn't have to sell yourself.
Hey, that's my advertisement on Djibouti swap meet for looking for friends.
Djibouti OnlyFans?
Yeah.
But with a place called Djibouti, I mean, do you really need something after that?
No, it's self-explanatory, right?
Yep.
They have Craigslist there, but it's called Ahmed's List.
Yeah. I'm glad you guys did get my tank commander photo then.
Yeah. There's more. Don't worry. Fret not. Brian, go for it, buddy.
So, the car behind you is blurred out, and I think most everybody that knows you two know what car you're bringing. But tell us a little bit about the car and what kind of shoes you're going to have on it this year.
So it's a 2018 Camaro ZL1 1LE. It's been ridden hard and put away and not so great. So the last couple years have been a struggle bus with it between suspension and oil pumps. I think we're good now. So the shoes that we're going to wear are our special Michelin's. Michelin's been good to us, so we'll continue to rock the Michelin PS4s. They're kind of the go-to tire for the different austere weathers we may run into, especially on the wet side. But other than that, the car, as far as modification goes, a lot of suspension work, and that's pretty much it.
Okay. So we've seen your team photo this year. You gentlemen are obviously very, very close. Here I'll pull that up because for those who might not know, we have your team photo here. It's a wonderful situation. This was taken, I think, in the
Facebook down.
in the 2019 one lap.
No need. I've got them all.
Yeah, it's so this was, I guess, 2019 one lap or something like that. You guys were stuck in a bathtub together, sleeping there. I guess you didn't plan ahead for hotel rooms. So why don't you tell us how this friendship began? Because you're clearly very close. Why don't you give us a little bit of history between you two?
I'll let jump in where needed, Jesus. But the basic is we started off as enemies. I'll be honest. I couldn't stand him in 9th grade. And
Hate this guy. Hated him.
We had a mutual friend that kept making us hang out together. And honestly, at some point, we started hanging out on our own, and neither of us know when that happened or when that enemy ship ended. We're just I don't know. Jesus, can you
No, yeah, that's exactly right, man. Like I couldn't stand you. We had a mutual friend, and we brought along another friend, and it kind of turned to this group of 4 guys. And man, I have no idea. I mean,
Is it because you both started hating the other friend simultaneously? I mean, was it like,
I don't know, maybe there was a
the
little bit
dynamic
of,
shift?
like it could be. I don't know. I very distinctly remember sitting at lunch and just being mad at him. Like he literally did nothing but pull out, a sandwich or a candy bar, and I'm just like, this freaking guy.
Bastard's got a fruit by the foot and a go-gurt. What kind of guy does he think he is?
He had this magic bag, his magic backpack.
Oh, geez.
I still don't understand how he did it, but man, it would be completely empty, and it'd sit on a table, and he'd reach in, and a candy bar comes out, and he'd reach in, and some gummy worms would come out, and we'd look in there to try and steal whatever goodies he's got. No goodies, nothing. It's empty. Okay, he must have finished. And then he reaches in and grabs some other thing. So I don't know what deal he made with what devil, but he had a full candy stash. So anyone that knows James knows that he is a sweet tooth. Doesn't even begin to describe what he's got going on there. But yeah, I don't know, man. If we're being super introspective and honest about it, we had semi-similar upbringings. His dad was in the Air Force. My dad was in the Army, both officers. We were in similar neighborhoods, kind of similar timings of things. We were both Boy Scouts. I don't know. It was a lot of things, and then eventually it just
Yeah, both our parents drove Volvos.
The what?
Both our parents drove Volvos that wouldn't die.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The Volvo and the blue tire smoke. That was awesome.
2 days in a row we've had Volvo come up.
Yeah.
We learned how to do donuts in that thing.
Nice.
I mean, how to drive very responsibly as teenagers with our parents' cars, very responsibly.
Right.
Sideways.
So this way you could take children from Florida all the way to Washington, D.C.
Exactly.
Yes.
Go.
I think there was a lot of
that
stories
out.
about that leading up to the election too. But Brian, go ahead, buddy.
So, Jesus, you and Rachel have been in Orlando for a few years now, and you guys spend a lot of time at a certain park in Orlando. How many days a year do you two go?
Ooh, that's a really good question because we don't know. It may be a month or two between trips, and then we'll go 4 times in a week. So it just kind of depends on how our schedule. So like, new life changed for us. My wife is now actually teaching also, so we're gonna have summers together. So we're probably gonna go a lot. But I think it's important to note that when we go, it's not like there you go. Okay, that one's not too bad. We've had worse.
we have worse. Don't worry, it's fine.
But it's important to note that we're not doing what everyone thinks of, middle of July, 13 hours in a park, super crowded, like 1,000,000 degrees. Like that's not, we go in, we'll go for an hour or two, we'll go have dinner, we'll have a date night, we'll whatever, walk around a little bit, and that's it. But we'll do that often. Often.
Nice.
And when you got 2 teachers' salaries, the budget becomes
The world is your oyster.
That is our right. That is our entertainment budget, so we're gonna use it.
Awesome.
So James, does Heidi look at you and say, "Why don't you take me to Disney like Jesus takes Rachel?"
No, she's good without that. Neither of us like. So I'm not a very patient person. I don't like lines. I have a big issue with lines, and Disney is the epicenter of lines, and I refuse to wait for something if I want it now.
Okay, Veruca.
Right. I know my shortcomings, okay? And lines are one of them.
Get in line. So, obviously you're one of the more, shall we say, energetic teams on the one lap. You generally have stuff, like challenge coins you've handed out. You're always a good time on the road. So yep, there you go. I got mine upstairs. So in the past, you've had wonderful get-ups, so we can't forget about this. Will the Super Troopers be making a return this year?
So that's Jesus's thing. He doesn't want to do Super Troopers anymore.
No, the Super Troopers will not come back this year, but will something else come?
I don't know.
I'm trying to convince him, but he doesn't seem to take it. I might just pull the trigger and force him. But we'll see.
Or it might be Super Trooper and Friend.
Super.
I mean, I could just put James in cuffs and walk him around.
It'll be a car divided. We just need a car divided.
A car. Put a line down the middle.
Oh, yeah. We'll have the Mason-Dixon line now in the center console of a Chevy Camaro here. That's half of it will be the General Lee, half of it will be generally. That'll be great. Wow. Okay. Tracks this year. Obviously, you've been to a lot of these before, but some of them you haven't actually run on because you got to them, but didn't actually get to go on them. Mm-hmm. This year, barring everything, no problems. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to VIR. I ran that one maybe 10 years ago. Very fun, iconic course. And so, yeah, that'll be fun. I think that one will be the most exciting for me. NCM always scares the pants off of me. So there's just so much concrete there. And then the rest will really be a new experience altogether.
Okay. All right, Brian.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think we have a ton of repeats this year. I think most are generally new to us.
When you conk out after like 3 events, no, generally most of the course won't be a repeat.
That only happened once. That only happened once. But I think, James, you did Pittsburgh your first year, right?
Yeah, I didn't drive it. I just did the parade laps.
The parade laps, okay.
And was that?
And then so NCM obviously we've done.
Was
but I don't know that we've done any others.
Or is that the old beef run configuration?
Which one?
Pitt.
I couldn't tell you. It was
in 2016, I think it was, right?
Yeah, that would have been the new. That would have been the new one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
New relative, right? It's almost 10 years now, but yeah, right.
Right.
It's been a while. Time flies.
It's been a minute.
All right, Brian, go for it.
So, other than, we were talking about how you guys became friends, after, since high school, how have you guys stayed such good friends? Is it the geographical distance, knowing that you don't have to put up with each other for a while?
That's what works for us.
Yeah, it did. 600 miles is the perfect distance.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely helps with jail time and keeping those numbers down. I don't know.
Don't need to go back, right?
Depends on what?
I said some of us don't need to go back, right?
What? Exact. You didn't have to put that up.
Oh, do you have that picture, Solomon?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a really good question. I think, again, if I'm not being funny and just being honest, there was a few years ago. I don't remember when it was. It was a while ago, but I remember just being in a rough spot in my life and trying to okay, what's positive? What in my life is a thing that I need to cultivate and be intentional about? And I remember having a conversation with James and hey man, not for nothing, all these years, all the stuff that we've done, etc. I really want to be intentional about this relationship. And so we just make it a point to be there. And I mean, no, we don't talk every day. Sometimes we don't talk for weeks, on end or whatever. Life happens. We're both incredibly busy guys, and
this is the first time you're speaking since he got back from Africa.
This is literally the first time we're speaking since he got back from Africa. I think we've sent 4 texts. There's there have bin about 10 or 15 Porsche GT3 RS reels on Instagram that I've sent them. But yeah, like I don't know, we're just totally brutally honest. Even we have the hard conversations, and they usually happen on one lap, and and I don't know. We've made it a point. Even to the that's fancy. Oh wait. I don't know, James. Why don't you tell them about our birthday?
I'm sorry, I don't know what that was. Why that happened.
What about our birthday?
Our birthdays.
Oh no, because I don't want to ruin what's about to happen next time. But
I mean, you don't have to give like
every year for our birthday, we intentionally try to disrupt the other one's life in some way or another. So whether it's me calling or him calling at 11:59 at night urgently, so he picks up the phone just to be like, happy birthday. And oh, by the way, I'm multiple area codes. So for me, it's really like 8 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't care.
I have definitely done the 3 a.m. on my end.
Yes.
to call him before.
I will just point you gentlemen to a website called ruindays.com, and I'll leave it there.
Oh, that's bad. You just made things worse for him.
Oh, I think for both of you.
They're both pulling it up now.
Exactly.
Oh, geez. Okay, ruindays.com, huh?
There you go.
That will be my next stop. Done.
This can only go well.
This is bad.
So we haven't done anything to cause any jail time or whatever, but it has been fun. And we try to keep it different and change things up, and
the only collateral is Rachel's birthday is the same as Jesus's, so
that's my wife, for those that don't know.
She gets disrupted too at midnight.
Well, I guess we know what's not going on, which is fine.
Like 2 minutes.
Woo! This is going well.
Yes.
Prime piece of cinema. So, all right, expectations for this year before we start wrapping things up. Where do you want to end up? What's your goal?
Back at Tire Rack?
Finishing.
In the same car. Yes, that would be lovely.
In the same car, yeah.
I mean, the last 2 years, that's been not the case. So I like achievable goals.
Yes, well, I'm speaking about position and not the one like in the passenger seat of a tow truck. But where would you like to ideally place this year?
If we could do podium at least in class,
okay,
I would be very happy.
Top 10 seems to always be a perennial goal that we just can't ever crack.
What's the closest?
That's always going to be awesome, but the reality is with the year that he's had and the car and not being sorted and whatever, like, yeah. And I mean, last year we didn't even run. We just met you guys at High Plains, and then the year before that we broke. So yeah, we're a couple years kind of like, let's just finish. Can we just do the whole thing? Let's do the whole thing. Let's do that.
So let's flash back to High Plains for a second. Have you ever seen that kind of a barrage of tumbleweeds in your life?
It still amazes me.
It's nuts. It's insane.
I mean,
every time I talk about it, I
bring
the pictures and videos, and it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, to this day, I still can't believe that. I've never seen anything like that, and I don't know if I'll ever see it again, but that was unbelievable. For those who weren't with us for our live stream last year, on the order of, I don't know, I'd say a few million conservatively, tumbleweeds coming across the track and all the way through Deer Trail, Colorado. It was unreal.
I still kept trying to figure out where they're coming from. Like, we were researching like the type of bush that creates these. I'm like,
hours learning about tumbleweeds.
Because it's, number one, the facility is fenced off. So okay, let's say there's a million inside the fence to begin with.
Yeah,
it was all going one direction the entire time. So you'd figure at a certain point it would have just gone through it all. But I think what happened, because if you looked at the gates, they kind of did the thing like at Masada. They just kind of kept piling things up and bodies up until they just started going over them, and it was some fine Roman and Greek fighting styles there, but it was oh my, it was lots and lots and lots of tumbleweeds to be
Yeah.
sure.
Amazing.
All right, Brian. Before we start wrapping up, what else do you have?
Any two things. Number one,
Said one.
Hodges, how much longer are you gonna serve our great nation? And once you finally hang them up, what are you guys gonna do next?
I probably got 2 to 5 years left, somewhere around there.
Incredibly vague.
There's a lot of gates that are coming up this year, and we'll see how things work out. We'll see how some of the reorganization works out. And so I say about 2 to 5 years at this point. I've always kind of said 25 is about the max that I would want to do. And then the 2 years is leaving on my own timeline, which kind of sets me up for whatever the next job is. I don't want to quit really until I have something planned or a road forward. And so 2 years is what I figured it would take me to start wrapping up shop and figuring out what I want to do. So 2 to 5.
What do you want to do? I mean, what does life look like for James Hodges afterwards? I mean,
what I'd really like to do, if I could do it, is if you go down to like FLETC, down in Georgia, do some of the driving instructions for Department of Defense people. One of those driving schools. I'd love to be an instructor there and just teach people how to drive defensively.
So if memory serves correct, didn't John Felton do that for a little while? Brian?
I think so.
I think he did. So John Felton, our buddy who runs what is it, Dominion?
Yeah.
He did at least. But I think he's down. Yeah, I think he's still down south there. But somebody you might want to reach out to in our One Lap family there.
Yeah.
He did, I believe he did that, if I'm not mistaken. So he might have a few conduits for you. And if John, if you're watching, reach out to James and help him out here. Get him through the door, or at least tell him what to miss.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. All righty. And Jesus, what's the future hold for you?
The future holds a lot of studying. So due to my previous careers, I don't actually have a degree nor a teaching degree, so I have to do that. The state of Florida has some leeway for veterans and life experience and et cetera, et cetera. And being a private school is a little bit different, but I have just been approved by the VA for my college. So I'm actually starting this summer. So I'm going to be knocking out my undergrad, and then I'm going to move on to a master's in counseling. So being like a guidance counselor, being a counselor for schools. So I want to stay in like the education thing, but I've realized that really my niche is the mentorship, right? I want to be able to help these kids. And again, in these areas where there don't seem to be these opportunities, James and I grew up in an area that was affluent and driven. If you ask 10 kids what their goals after high school were, they'd get like 15 answers. Where you ask my kids, what do you want to do after high school? You ask 10 kids, that maybe one person is going to say something like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Bro, you're graduating in a month and a half. What do you mean you're going to figure it out? Like, you're there. you're there. So I would love to, I want to be able to do some of that, and then someday maybe get into a private practice and help other veterans with their mental health journey and whatnot. Something I've been doing on my own for me, and just kind of realizing like, okay, there is a definite need here for people that speak the same language and that understand, certain things. And we may not all have done the same stuff, but there are certain similarities and certain things that, like, you say a word, you don't have to explain that to me. Like, we already understand all the things that come with it. So yeah, my future, that's what I'm hoping. I mean, life tends to throw its own curveballs and whatnot in there. So, who knows? We'll see. But that's where I'd like to end up.
Well, I think I figured out during that answer exactly what movie character he is. He's kind of like the Hispanic Michelle Pfeiffer from Dangerous Minds. But all all kidding
Is James
aside,
like Julio? Come on, James.
it was a good soundtrack. There you
It
go.
was. It really was.
You guys can go dressed as that this year. I'd love to see your outfit.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
Well, you get the better part of that. Although, in any event, but all kidding aside, while we do like to have a lot of fun together, there's truly not very many better teams on the one lap than these two gentlemen here. Thank you both very, very much for your service, both in the military, out of the military. I mean, no matter what it seems like you guys are doing, you're serving something, so hopefully this year you'll be able to serve a couple W's on the one lap, right, and make it a really great effort. But in all seriousness, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been great catching up with you guys, and we thank you again for the 2025 Tire Rack One Lap of America, presented by Grassroots Motorsport Magazine, with coverage brought to you by HP Tuners and his test subject down there. I'm Solomon. That's Brian. Michelle Pfeiffer and Coolio, everybody. Have an amazing time, and thanks for watching.
Have a good one.
Very. Whoa! I crashed my tractor.